Enough, Lola! You think this restaurant is your charity home?
Every customer turned. Mr. Niyi lowered his eyes, and Lola stood there in her coral orange uniform, her light aqua apron tied tight around her waist, surrounded by people who suddenly looked at her like a thief. Ronka raised the plate. Every day, food disappears. Every day this old man eats. Today, you will explain it before I sack you myself. Lola said nothing. She reached into her apron, pulled out a folded receipt, and placed it on the table. I paid as food. The room went quiet, but Ronka did not look embarrassed. She looked afraid. And that was the first moment Lola realized something much bigger was hiding behind those missing meals. Because before this story ends, one waitress everyone thought was powerless will force an entire restaurant to answer a question. Nobody wanted asked, so don't leave before you hear what happened. And while you're listening, tell us where you're watching from and your local time right now. Subscribe to the channel if stories about dignity, courage, and consequences are your kind of stories. Because the old man Lola fed every day was about to teach her something that would change her life forever. 3 weeks earlier, Mr. Niyi Coker had walked into Junction House Eatery for the first time just after the lunch rush. That hour was usually a tired hour. The rice trays were half empty. The stew had thickened at the edges. The floor smelled of disinfectant, fried plantain, and the pepper sauce somebody had spilled near table 6. Outside, Bodija traffic moved in fits and starts, impatient horns pushing through the glass whenever the door opened. Lola was wiping a table when she noticed him. Not because he looked dramatic. He did not. He wore a faded, sand-beige shirt buttoned neatly to the neck, dark brown trousers, and a forest green cap that had been washed so many times it had lost the shape it once had. His shoes were old but polished. His back was slightly bent. He carried no bag. He stood beside the menu board for a long time. Long enough for Lola to look up twice. He studied the prices. Then he put one hand into his pocket and brought out a folded collection of notes and coins. He counted them once, twice. Then he returned the money to his pocket. "Good afternoon, sir," Lola said. He looked at her and smiled as if he had been caught doing something private. "Good afternoon, my daughter. What can I get you?" His eyes went back to the menu. "Water is fine." Lola glanced toward the drinks fridge. "Bottled water?" He shook his head. "Ordinary water. If ordinary water is still free in this country." She laughed before she could stop herself. His smile widened. "Ah, at least one person still has strength to laugh. Good." She brought him a glass of water. He thanked her. Then he sat at table 9 and drank it slowly. That should have been the end of it. Junction House was not a charity. Lola knew that better than anybody. Her salary had to cover rent in a shared flat, transport, food, data, church contributions when she could manage them, and the small amount she sent to her younger brother in Sogbo whenever he called, saying his school materials had finished. There was no money in Lola's life that did not already have a job. Still, when she cleared the staff tray that afternoon, there was one serving of jollof rice and beans left for her. She looked at it. Then she looked at table 9. Mr. Niyi had finished his water and was preparing to leave. "Sir," he turned, "please wait." She took the staff plate to him. "They gave us staff meal. I can't finish mine." His expression changed, not with gratitude, with resistance. "No. It's okay." I said, "No, my daughter." He spoke quietly, but the word had weight. Lola rested the plate on the table anyway. Then, help me so food won't waste. If you leave it, I will have to throw it away. That was not entirely true. She could have wrapped it and taken it home. He knew that. She could see it in the way his eyes stayed on her face. But he did not expose her lie. He only pulled the plate closer. Rice or beans first? She asked. A line appeared at the corner of his mouth. Are they fighting? Not yet. Then let them share the plate in peace. That was how it began. The next day he returned. Again, near the end of lunch. Again he stood by the menu. Again he ordered water. This time, Lola did not immediately bring food. She watched him first. He was not begging from customers. He was not staring at plates. He was not inventing stories about a sick wife or stolen wallet. He sat with his hands folded and read an old newspaper somebody had left behind. When she finally carried her staff meal to his table, he frowned. You did not finish again? My appetite is very irresponsible. Your lies are worse, sir. Eat. He did. On the third day, he came with money. Not much. Enough for a small portion of beans. He placed the notes carefully on the tray. Today I am a paying customer, he said. Congratulations. Don't be rude to your customers. Only special ones. That afternoon he ate beans and drank water. Lola did not add anything. She understood something about him by then. Mr. Niyi could accept help, but only if you left his dignity inside the help. So she stopped making a performance of it. Some days he bought a small portion. Some days she quietly paid for an extra plate with her own money. Some days her staff meal was enough for 2 people, and she split it without announcing why. She never called him poor, never asked what had happened to him, never took a photo, never told customers, look at what I did for this old man. In fact, for the first week, she did not even know his surname. He was simply Mr. Niyi, and he knew her because of the name tag pinned to her chest. Lola, he said one afternoon, studying the movement around the counter. Your people are wasting money. She nearly dropped the tray in her hand. My people? This restaurant. You came here to inspect us? No. I came to eat your terrible beans. You finished the plate. Evidence is not always endorsement. Lola laughed. Mr. Niyi pointed toward the service hatch. You see those 2 trays? She looked. Which ones? Chicken stew. What about them? The front tray was filled after 1 o'clock. The back tray came from the kitchen 10 minutes later. Same ladle. Same price. Different portion sizes. Lola narrowed her eyes. How can you know from here? Because people think old men are sleeping when their eyes are open. She smiled. Okay, Professor. He raised one eyebrow. Close. Close to what? I used to teach catering operations at a vocational center. Long ago. Before your generation decided everything must be called hospitality management. That surprised her. You were a teacher? Instructor. Teachers have patience. I had very little. His joke passed quickly, but something remained behind it. Lola looked at his hands. They were thin now. The veins stood high beneath the skin. But his fingers moved with a habit of precision. He folded his napkin into a square. He aligned the spoon with the edge of the plate. He noticed when a server carried the wrong bill to table 3. He noticed everything. So what happened? Lola asked. His face closed slightly, not harshly, just enough. Life happened. She did not push. That was another form of respect. At Junction House, Ronk Johnson noticed the old man, too. Ronky noticed anything that might become a problem before it became a problem for her. She was the operations manager. 39. efficient when the owner was around, sharp-tongued when he was not. She wore pressed trousers, bright blouses, and a perfume that entered rooms before she did. She also had an unusual gift. She could make a mistake sound like somebody else's responsibility. If a customer complained about waiting time, the kitchen was slow. If the kitchen complained about missing ingredients, the supplier was late. If the supplier came late, the dispatch rider had lied. If cash was short, somebody at the till had counted badly. Ronke was never the person standing closest to blame. At least, not on paper. The first time she saw Lola place food in front of Mr. Niyi, she stopped near the counter. "Who paid for that?" Lola looked up. "I did." "Why?" "Because I wanted to." Ronke stared at her. "This is a business." "I know. I paid for it. And yesterday? Staff meal. Mine. And the day before?" Lola wiped her hands on her apron. "Why are you counting his food?" That was the wrong answer. Ronke's face changed by 1 degree. "Because I am paid to count everything that leaves that kitchen. Then you can check the receipt." Ronke held her gaze. "Don't be clever with me." Lola wanted to reply. She did not. She had learned how expensive one sentence could be when it traveled upward through management. "Yes, ma." Ronke walked away. Mr. Niyi had heard every word. When Lola returned to his table, he was tearing a piece of plantain with his fork. "You should not quarrel over me," he said. "We didn't quarrel." In my time, that tone was already halfway to quarrel. "I paid for the food. That is not the same as being safe." Lola looked toward Ronke's office. "I need the job. Then protect the job." She turned back to him. "How? Stop feeding you." He shook his head. "No, stop leaving room for stories." "What does that mean?" "It means if you pay, keep the receipt. If you take your staff meal, make sure it is recorded properly. If somebody says you did something tomorrow, don't answer with anger when you can answer with facts." Lola smiled. "You really were an instructor." "Unfortunately." He pointed his fork at her. "People think writing things down is for people who don't trust others. Sometimes it is simply for people who understand memory. Memory is proud. Paper is humble. Paper just waits." The words stayed with her. At first, Lola kept receipts because Mr. Niyi had told her to. Then she started keeping other things too. Not stealing documents. Not photographing private records. Nothing dramatic. She simply began paying attention to what passed through her own hands. When the kitchen marked a dish unavailable at 2 in the afternoon, even though a delivery had arrived that morning, she wrote the date. When Musa, one of the cooks, muttered that they had received only 6 cartons instead of 8, she wrote the date. When Ronke told the servers to push chicken dishes because there was too much stock, then told them 2 hours later that chicken was finished, Lola wrote it down. She did not know what she was looking for. She only knew something felt untidy. And Mr. Niyi had spent a career teaching people that untidy systems eventually became expensive systems. Musa noticed her notebook after a week. He leaned over the surf's hatch. "Lola, wetting you day right every time." She shut it. "Love letter." "For who?" "Your landlord." He hissed and laughed. Musa was 33, broad-shouldered, usually sweating even before the kitchen became hot. He complained loudly, but feared losing his job quietly. That made him ordinary. It also made him careful. "I'm serious," he said. "I see you. Delivery come, you write. Chicken finish, you write. Madam Ronke shout, you write. You want become police? No. Then leave police work. Is there something I should not see?" His smile disappeared. I didn't say that. I didn't say you did. He looked over his shoulder. Ronka was nowhere near. Then he lowered his voice. Sometimes invoice say one thing. What enters kitchen is another thing. Lola stared at him. Since when? I beg, I don't know. You just said euro, I said sometimes. He pushed a plate through the hatch. Table 4. Carry your food. And just like that, the conversation was over. But Lola had heard enough. That evening, on the bus home, she opened the notebook on her lap. She read the dates. She read her short notes. 6 cartons received. Menu changed by 3. Fish unavailable before evening. Extra stew requested from kitchen, though morning delivery complete. She did not have numbers from the invoices. She did not know procurement. She did not know what Ronka saw on her computer, and she refused to turn suspicion into accusation. That mattered. Mr. Niyi had told her once, if you don't know, say you don't know. A clean I don't know is better than a dirty certainty. So Lola did not gossip, not with the other waitresses, not with customers, not with Musa after he clearly wanted silence. She simply kept her own record. 2 days later, Ronka called a staff meeting before opening. Her emerald green blouse was bright against the cream wall. She stood with a clipboard tucked beneath one arm. Food cost is too high, she said, and I am tired of waste. From today, nobody gives out anything without clearance. I don't care if it is 1 spoon of rice. If it belongs to Junction House, it must be accounted for. Her eyes settled on Lola. Everybody noticed. Lola felt heat move up her neck. Ronka continued. Some people want to turn generosity into company policy. That will stop. Musa looked at the floor. One of the servers shifted uncomfortably. Lola waited until the meeting ended. Then she followed Ronke toward the office. Ma. Ronke stopped. What? If you mean me, please say my name. Ronke turned slowly. Do you want me to say your name? I want to understand whether I broke a rule. You want to understand? Good. Understand that this restaurant is not your father's house. Lola's jaw tightened. Ronka stepped closer. You like being seen as kind. Fine. Be kind with your own money. But once food crosses that counter, I want payment attached to it. No stories. Okay. And stop encouraging that old man to sit here every day. Customers notice these things. Lola stared at her. Notice what? Don't start. He sits at one table. He doesn't disturb anybody. Lola? Ronki's voice dropped. You need this job more than I need this argument. There it was. Not a shout. Something colder. A reminder of the distance between them. Lola swallowed the answer she wanted to give. Yes, Ma. For the next 4 days, she paid for Mr. Niyi's meal herself. The amounts were small, but small amounts repeated themselves. By the 5th day, Lola checked her wallet after work and laughed without humor. This man will finish me. Mr. Niyi looked offended. I can hear you. Good, then stop buying food for me. And what will you eat? That is my problem. No, sir. It has entered my budget. It is now a national problem. He laughed. Then he became serious. Lola, don't damage yourself trying to prove you have a good heart. She sat opposite him for 1 minute. The restaurant was nearly empty. I am not proving anything. Then why? She looked at the table. Because hunger makes people disappear before they actually leave. Mr. Niyi said nothing. Lola rubbed a stain from the edge of the table with her thumb. When I was in secondary school, there were days my mother would say she had eaten at work. I believed her. Years later, I understood what it meant when a mother says she is not hungry so children can eat. She looked up. I know what it looks like when somebody is pretending water is enough. Mr. Niyi's face softened. Your mother? She died 6 years ago. I'm sorry. Thank you. A little silence passed between them. Not empty silence, the useful kind. Then Mr. Niyi tapped the table. All the same, kindness without boundary can become another form of carelessness. Lola frowned. How? If you cannot pay your transport because you fed me, I have not gained dignity, I have borrowed yours. That shut her up. He leaned back. So, new arrangement. Which arrangement? When I can pay, I pay. When I cannot, you choose what you can truly afford, not what makes you feel noble. I don't feel noble. Good. Noble people are very tiring, she laughed. And one more thing, he said. What? Keep your receipts. She rolled her eyes. Yes, Professor. Instructor. Same thing. This is why young people fail exams. They were both smiling when Ronke saw them from the office doorway. Her face did not change. But later that afternoon, Lola's shift for the following week was altered. 2 of her better evening slots were gone, replaced by early weekday shifts that earned fewer tips. Lola carried the rota into Ronke's office. Why did my shifts change? Ronke did not look up. Operational need. Only mine. Do you want to manage the rota now? I'm asking a question. Ronke finally looked at her, and I answered it. Lola left. That evening she wrote the change in her notebook. Not because she thought it proved anything. Because she had started to understand the value of sequence. One event could be explained away. A pattern was harder. A week later, a cashier shortage of 8,000 naira became another problem. Ronke called Lola into the office at closing. Your table payments were short yesterday. No, Ma. Don't say no before I finish. Lola clasped her hands behind her back. Ronke pushed a sheet across the desk. The till was short. You handled 3 cash tables during the afternoon, and I handed every payment to Kemi at the till. She says she received what was entered. Then check the bills. I am checking you. Lola inhaled slowly. May I see the table numbers? Ronke's mouth tightened. Why? Because I keep my order slips until shift close. That was true. Another habit Mr. Niyi had encouraged after watching one waiter argue over a mistaken bill. Ronke stared at her. Bring them. Lola returned with the folded slips from her apron pocket. They checked. One payment Ronke had included under Lola's name belonged to another server. The shortage still existed, but not under Lola's tables. Ronke leaned back. Fine, go, no apology. Lola stood there. Ma, will the deduction still come from my pay? Ronke looked irritated. I said go. I need to know. No deduction. Happy? Lola nodded. Thank you. She walked out. Musa was waiting near the back door. You see, he whispered. This place donned a day somehow. Lola looked at him. Then why is everybody quiet? Musa gave a tired laugh. Because school fees are not quiet. Rent is not quiet. Hunger is not quiet. People choose the noise they can survive. That answer disturbed her more than any accusation. Because she understood it. She also knew fear could become a workplace policy if enough people obeyed it. The following Monday, the confrontation came. Lunch was busy. Office workers filled the front section. 2 university students shared a plate of fried rice near the window. A family with 3 children occupied the long table by the wall. Mr. Niyi arrived later than usual. His steps were slower, Lola noticed. You are okay? I am 70. That is already a condition. I'm serious. So am I. He smiled, but his face looked drawn. Lola checked the menu. Rice or beans? Whichever one will not bankrupt you. Today I am rich. I have 2,000 naira and reckless confidence. He laughed. She went to the cashier, paid for rice, beans, and a small piece of fish, and tucked the receipt into her apron. Then she carried the plate over. Mr. Niyi had taken only 2 bites when Ronki appeared. She came quickly. Too quickly. Her eyes were hard. She picked up the plate. The spoon hit the floor. Enough, Lola. You think this restaurant is your charity home. The room turned, and the story caught up with the moment where it began. Every day food disappears, Ronke said. Every day this old man eats. Today you will explain it before I sack you myself. Lola could hear one child at the family table stop chewing. Mr. Niyi's hands were flat on the table. For one terrible second, Lola saw shame move across his face. That hurt more than Ronki's accusation. Not because people thought Lola was stealing, because Ronke had made Mr. Niyi's hunger public. Lola reached into her apron, pulled out the receipt, placed it on the table. Ronke looked down. The date was there, the time, the items, the amount. A customer nearest the table leaned slightly, then looked away. Ronke's face changed. Just a flicker. Fear, then anger covered it. One receipt proves one meal. Lola's pulse jumped. She did not raise her voice. I have the others. That sentence landed differently. Ronke stared at her. What others? The receipts for the meals I paid for. Why are you keeping receipts for weeks? Lola heard Mr. Niyi's voice in her memory. Stop leaving room for stories. Because I was told to account for anything that leaves the kitchen. Ronke's eyes narrowed. For the first time, Lola knew 2 things at once. 1, she had protected herself. 2, Ronke was not really angry about an old man's plate. She was angry that Lola had records. And once Lola understood that, she could never again pretend the problem was only rice. Ronke returned the plate to the table. Not gently. Everybody back to work, she snapped. Nobody had technically stopped working. But people moved again because she had told them to. That was power too. Lola picked up the spoon from the floor and carried it to the kitchen. Her hands were shaking. Musa saw them. What happened? You didn't hear? Kitchen fan day, shout past everybody. She told him in 3 sentences. Musa's face tightened. She did that in front of customers? Yes. For food you paid for? Yes. He looked toward the office. This thing is entering another level. Lola washed her hands. It entered another level before today. I just didn't know. When the lunch rush ended, Ronke summoned her. The door closed behind Lola. Ronke remained standing. You embarrassed me. Lola blinked. Ma, don't act stupid. You produced that receipt like you were waiting to disgrace me. Lola almost laughed. The absurdity of it pressed against her ribs. You accused me in front of the whole restaurant. Because food has been going missing. Then investigate the food. Ronke's eyes hardened. Mind how you speak to me. Lola looked at the framed certificate on the wall behind her. Customer Service Excellence, 2 years old. I am minding it. You think because that old man likes you, you are special? No. You think customers will save you? No. Then understand something. I decide whether your work here is good enough. I decide your shifts. I decide what goes into your staff report. If I say you are careless, that is what management sees. Lola said nothing. Ronke came around the desk. Stop this nonsense with the old man. I won't give away company food. I said stop it. There was no longer any pretense that the issue was payment. Lola saw that clearly. She also knew pushing further inside that office would give Ronke exactly what she wanted. Insubordination, she could write down. So she nodded. I heard you. Ronke looked satisfied. Good. Lola opened the door. And Lola? She turned. Those receipts. Don't start carrying company paperwork home. They are my payment receipts. I know what they are. I'm warning you generally. Okay. Outside, Lola walked past the counter without speaking, but one word kept repeating in her head. Generally. A warning about nothing specific. Why? That evening, Mr. Niyi waited until she finished her shift. He was outside under the awning, sitting on a low concrete ledge, while traffic pulled itself along the wet road. Rain had fallen earlier. The air smelled of dust, fuel, and damp earth. You should have gone home, Lola said. I was waiting for my bus. For 40 minutes. Maybe I enjoy this wall. She sat beside him. For a while they watched a Danfo squeeze into a space too small for it. Mr. Niyi spoke first. How angry are you? Very. Good. Lola turned to him. Good. Anger tells you a line has been crossed. It doesn't tell you what to do next. So what do I do next? I don't know. She stared at him. After all this professor talk, instructor. And I said I don't know. It is a useful sentence. She shook her head. He smiled faintly. Tell me what you know. Lola rested her elbows on her knees. I know she hates that I feed you. That is an interpretation. Fine. I know she has warned me about feeding you. Good. I know food stock has been strange. Strange how? Lola described the missing cartons, the menu changes, the shortage at the till. Musa's comment. Mr. Niyi listened without interrupting. Then he asked, what do you have direct knowledge of? My tables, my receipts. What comes out to the floor? Some of what Musa tells me. And what don't you know? The invoices, payments. What Ronke tells the owner. Good. Lola frowned. Why do you keep saying good? Because knowing the edge of your knowledge is protection. He tapped her notebook where it stuck out of her bag. Write what you see. Don't write what you imagine. You think she's stealing? You didn't hear me? Lola sighed. I heard. I don't know what she is doing. Neither do you. He stood slowly. But if a person becomes frightened because you keep ordinary receipts, pay attention. Then he walked toward the bus stop. Lola watched him go. His gait was slow, his mind was not. The following days changed the way she looked at Junction House. Before, she saw tables, orders, customers, tips, a manager's mood. Now she saw movement. What came in, what went out. What was written down, what was said aloud, and where those things failed to agree. On Wednesday morning, a delivery van arrived before opening. Lola was carrying clean glasses to the front when Musa called from the back. Lola, come help me move this water a beg. She went through the kitchen to the service entrance. A supplier's assistant was unloading cartons. Musa counted under his breath. 4. Bought 5. 6. He looked into the van. Where are the other 2? The assistant shrugged. No wettendom load, give me. Paper says 8. Talk to office. Ronke appeared behind them. What's the problem? Musa held up the delivery sheet. Madam Paper says 8 cartons of frozen chicken. They bring 6. Ronke took the sheet. The balance will come later. Should I write 6 received? Sign it. Musa hesitated. But it says 8. Ronk looked at him as if he had disappointed her personally. Did you hear me say the balance is coming? Yes, ma. So why are we wasting time? Sign. Musa took the pen. Lola saw his fingers tighten around it. Then Ronka noticed her. What are you doing here? He called me to move water. then move water. Lola lifted 2 packs and carried them inside. She did not write anything while Ronka could see. Later, in the staff changing area, she opened her notebook. Wednesday. 6 chicken cartons physically received. Delivery sheet showed 8. Ronki said balance later. That was all. No accusation, no theory. By closing time, no second delivery had arrived. Lola wrote that too. The next morning, the kitchen ran short of chicken before lunch ended. Ronka blamed Musa for portion control. You people in that kitchen are serving as if customers paid for whole chicken. Musa's mouth opened, then closed. Lola watched him from the service hatch. When Ronki walked away, he shoved a tray onto the counter, harder than necessary. You see, Am? I saw. 6 cartons come. She signed 8. Now na my portion control. You signed 2. Musa turned on her. Because she told me. I know, you don't know. His voice was low but furious. You don't have 2 children. You don't have rent due next week. You don't have one wife calling you that school sent children home for levy. You can stand there and say, I know. You don't know. Lola took the words. They were not entirely fair, but they were true enough. Okay, she said. Musa looked away. After a moment, he rubbed both hands over his face. Sorry, it's fine. No. He leaned on the stainless steel counter. It's not fine. Lola waited. This thing has been happening, he said. She did not move. How long? Months. Not every delivery. Sometimes oil. Sometimes chicken. Sometimes drinks. Paper full. Stock no full. And you've been signing. His jaw worked. Sometimes she says supplier will balance next trip. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Have you told Mr. Marcus? Musa gave her a look that was almost pity. When last you see owner here for full day? Lola had no answer. Marcus George came to Junction House maybe twice a week, sometimes less. He owned another smaller food business and had recently spent more time trying to stabilize that one. When he visited, Ronke moved like somebody on inspection day. Everything became clean. Everybody became cheerful. Problems waited outside. You should keep your receiving notes, Lola said. Musa laughed bitterly. Which notes? She collects sheet. Then keep your own count. For what? For yourself. He stared at her. This old man don't turn you to auditor. Maybe. Musa looked toward the office. Auditors still need salary. So do scapegoats. He went quiet. That afternoon, Mr. Niyi arrived with a paper bag. What is that? Lola asked. Peanuts. You brought food into restaurant? Madam Ronke will arrest you. Then we will finally discover her legal powers. Lola burst out laughing. She brought him water and sat for less than a minute. Professor, can somebody be trained to ignore what is obvious? Yes. Most organizations call it culture. She smiled, then told him about the delivery. Not names beyond those he already knew. Not private records she had no right to share. Just what she had seen. Mr. Niyi's expression changed. This one is different. Why? Because food operation is not only money. If records are unreliable, you eventually stop knowing what you actually have, what you used, what spoiled, what is safe, what must be reordered. Confusion spreads. So I should tell Marcus? Do you have enough to tell him? I saw 6 cartons. Paper said 8. That is enough to say exactly that. Nothing more. What if he asks what I think is happening? Say what you think is happening only after you clearly separate it from what you know happened. Lola sighed. Everything with you has rules. Not rules. Clean thinking. He opened his peanuts. People get into trouble when they mix observation, suspicion and conclusion in one pot. Then serve it as soup. That sounds like something you used to tell students. They never listened. Maybe because you talked too much. Go and serve your customers. She grinned and stood. The chance to speak to Marcus came 2 days later. He entered just before noon, wearing a bright cobalt blue shirt, with the sleeves rolled neatly at the forearms. He was tall, 47, usually calm, and had the habit of checking his phone between every conversation. Ronke was beside him within seconds. "Sir, welcome. We had a good week. Customer traffic is picking up." Marcus nodded. "Food cost isn't good." Ronke's smile remained. "I've been dealing with it. Staff waste is part of the problem." Lola was close enough to hear. Ronke continued. "Some people have been too loose with portions and complimentary meals." Marcus looked toward the floor. For 1 second, his eyes met Lola's. Ronke followed his gaze. The warning in her face was immediate. Lola felt her heart knock once against her ribs. This was the moment. Speak. She took 1 step forward. Then a customer called for her. "Excuse me, please." Lola looked back. Table 5. A woman was pointing to a bowl. "This soup smells strange." The moment with Marcus disappeared. Lola went to the table. She leaned slightly toward the bowl. There was a sour note beneath the pepper. Not strong. Wrong enough. "I'm sorry, Ma. Please don't eat it. I'll replace it." She carried the bowl to the kitchen. Musa smelled it. His face changed. Which pot? They checked. A batch of soup prepared from ingredients that had arrived the previous day had begun to turn. Musa moved to discard it. Ronke entered. "What are you doing, Madame? This soup no good." "How many portions left?" "Maybe 5. Reheat it properly." Musa stared at her. "Madam, add fresh pepper. Bring it to a full boil." Lola felt cold despite the heat in the kitchen. "No," she said. Ronke turned. "What?" Lola heard herself before she had time to calculate the cost. "We shouldn't serve it." A customer already complained. "Did I ask you?" "No." "Then leave the kitchen." Musa looked from one woman to the other. Ronke pointed at the door. "Lola, out." Lola stayed. "If it goes back to a table, I won't serve it." Silence. Even the kitchen assistant stopped chopping onions. Ronke's face went very still. "You won't?" "No, Ma." "Who exactly do you think you are?" Lola could hear Marcus somewhere in the front speaking on the phone. She knew she should be afraid. She was. But fear had met something larger. A line. "I'm the waitress who has to carry it to somebody's table," she said. "I won't carry that one." Ronke stepped closer. "Get out! Ma Euro! Get out of my kitchen!" Lola untied her apron. Her fingers shook once, then steadied. She folded it, placed it on the counter, and walked out through the back door before anybody could see her cry. She did not know yet whether she had resigned. She only knew she could not carry that bowl. Outside, the afternoon sun hit her face hard. She walked past the service gate, past the pharmacy, past 2 shops, then stopped under a tree because her legs had started to tremble. Her phone rang. Ronke. Lola watched it ring, then stop. A message followed. "Do not return to your shift until I call you. Suspended, maybe fired." Lola read the message again. Rent was due in 9 days. Her brother had sent her a voice note that morning about a practical fee. She had less money in her account than she wanted to admit. Integrity sounded beautiful when it was somebody else's rent. Standing under that tree, it felt expensive. For the first time, Lola wondered whether she had made a mistake. Not about the soup. About believing one small person could afford to say no. She stayed under the tree until her breathing slowed. Then she called Musa. He answered on the second ring. Lola, what happened after I left? A pause. We threw the soup away. Lola closed her eyes. Who? Me. Ronk allowed it. She didn't get chance. Mr. Marcus entered kitchen because he heard shouting. He asked what happened. I told him customer complain. He said discard it. Relief came first. Then another thought. Did you tell him why I left? Longer pause. I told him there was argument. Musa, Lola, a beg. Did you tell him she wanted it served? He didn't ask me directly. That is not what I asked. Musa exhaled into the phone. No. She looked at the traffic moving beyond the tree. Okay, don't vex. I'm not vexed. She was. But anger would not pay Musa's children's fees either. What did Ronka say? She say you walked off shift. Lola almost shouted. Instead, she pressed her lips together. I didn't walk off. She told me to get out. I know. Does Marcus know? I don't know. Okay. Lola, wait. She waited. Write everything down, Musa said. It was the first time he had given her Mr. Niyi's advice. Lola smiled despite herself. I will. She went home. Her room in the shared flat was hot. Power had gone out again, and the rechargeable fan had only one weak bar left. Her roommate was still at work. Lola sat on the edge of her bed, with the notebook open on her knees. She wrote the date, the time approximately, the customer's complaint, what she smelled, Musa's response, Ronka's instruction to reheat the soup and add fresh pepper, her own refusal, Ronka's order for her to leave, the suspension message. She stopped there, then crossed out one sentence she had written in anger. Ronke wanted to hide unsafe food. She replaced it. Ronke instructed Musa to reheat and serve the soup after a customer complained about its smell. Better. Facts first. Her phone buzzed. A message from her brother. Sis, please don't forget the practical fee. They said Friday is final. Lola stared at it for a long time. Then she opened her banking app. The number on the screen made her stomach tighten. She could pay his fee, or protect rent. Not comfortably both. She typed, I haven't forgotten. Give me till tomorrow. Then she lay back on the bed and covered her face with one arm. This was the part stories often skipped. People liked courage after it had won. They liked the clean sentence, the brave refusal, the applause. They did not like the evening after, when courage sat beside you while you calculated transport money. The next morning, Lola woke before 6. No message from Ronke. By 8, still nothing. She dressed anyway, not in uniform. A plain blue skirt and white blouse. She put the notebook in her bag, along with the meal receipts she had kept in an envelope. Then she went to Junction House. Ronka met her at the entrance. Why are you here? I want to speak to Mr. Marcus. He's not here. When will he be? I don't know. Can I have his business email? Ronka laughed once. You are suspended. Go home. I need to submit a written account of yesterday. Submit it to me. Lola looked at her. I'll send you a copy. Ronki's face changed. A copy? Yes, Lola. Don't make this worse for yourself. There was almost kindness in the way she said it. Almost. Come inside. Lola followed her into the office. Ronke closed the door. Then she surprised Lola by sitting down heavily. For the first time, she looked tired, not angry. Tired. You are a good worker, Ronke said. Lola waited. Customers like you are fast. You don't steal cash. You are not lazy. Okay, but you have started behaving as if you are management. I don't think I'm management. Then stop questioning every instruction. Lola gripped the strap of her bag. Ronke leaned forward. Yesterday got out of hand, fine. Maybe I should not have shouted. You should not have challenged me in front of kitchen staff. We can both move on. Lola heard the offer beneath the words. Return. Forget. No report. Am I still suspended? Ronke hesitated. Come back Monday. And the incident? Closed. What will be written in my file? Ronke's patience thinned. Why are you suddenly obsessed with files? Because you said you decide what management sees. Silence. Ronke stood. Go home, Lola. Come back Monday. Don't submit anything. Don't turn one argument into a war. Lola looked at her. The old Lola might have accepted. Maybe the sensible Lola should have accepted. Rent was due. Her brother needed money. She could return Monday, smile at customers and keep her notebook hidden. People survived worse compromises every day. Then she remembered the bowl. Not the argument. The bowl. A customer had smelled something wrong and trusted Lola enough to say it. What would happen next time if the customer did not smell it? Lola opened her bag. She took out 2 copies of her written account. I will submit this. Ronke stared at the pages. To who? To you. And to Mr. Marcus when I can reach him. If you do that, don't expect me to protect you. Lola almost smiled. From what? Ronke did not answer. Lola placed 1 copy on the desk. I'll come back Monday if I'm still employed. Then she walked out. Mr. Niyi was not at the restaurant. For some reason that unsettled her. He had come almost every weekday for weeks. She checked the bus stop. Nothing. The next day, still nothing. By Friday, Lola was worried enough to ask around. The newspaper vendor near the junction knew him. Old man with green cap? Yes. He lives around Agbowo side. He sometimes buys paper here. Do you know where? The vendor gave her a vague direction and the name of a compound. Lola hesitated. Going to an old customer's house felt intrusive, but he had not appeared in 3 days, and the last time she saw him, his steps had been slower than usual. She bought a loaf of bread, a small bag of oranges, and 2 sachets of milk. Then she went. It took almost an hour of wrong turns and asking people. The compound was modest. 4 rooms faced a central yard. Laundry hung from a line tied between 2 poles. A woman washing clothes pointed to the last door. Baba Niyi? He day inside. Lola knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Sir, it's Lola. Something moved inside. The door opened. Mr. Niyi stood there, wearing a white singlet and wrapper, his green cap absent. Without it, he looked older. What are you doing here? Good afternoon to you too. How did you find me? Nigeria has intelligence network. You followed me? I asked the newspaper man. He frowned. That gossip. Are you okay? I am fine. You haven't come for 3 days. So now attendance is compulsory? Lola lifted the bag. I brought evidence of harassment. He looked inside. Bread and oranges. Lola, don't start. He sighed and opened the door wider. The room was small but orderly. A narrow bed, 2 plastic chairs, a wooden shelf lined with old catering books, exercise notebooks, and a few framed photographs. A single burner stove sat near the window. On the wall hung a faded picture of Mr. Niyi in a white instructor's coat beside a group of young adults holding trays of pastries. Lola looked at it. So you were not lying. About what? Being an instructor. You thought I invented employment history to impress a waitress? People do strange things. He sat. She noticed medicine packets on the shelf. She did not ask. Why didn't you come? I had a fever. It passed. Did you see anybody? The chemist checked me. I'm better. She touched the back of her hand to his forehead. before he could protest. "See this disrespect," he muttered. "You're not hot." "Thank you, doctor." She sat opposite him. "I got suspended." His joking stopped. "What happened?" she told him. The soup, Ronka's instruction, the refusal, the offer to return quietly, the report. Mr. Niyi listened. When she finished, he looked toward the old photograph on the wall. "I once signed something I should not have signed," he said. Lola waited. Nothing criminal, nothing dramatic. Just a stock acceptance form. Training kitchen. Years ago, we received equipment for practical classes. Some items were missing. My supervisor said the balance would come. He was under pressure to close the paperwork before year end. Lola leaned forward. "Did it come?" Some. Not all." "What happened?" "Months later, there was an audit. The form had my signature. Were you punished?" "Not seriously. I had notes. Other people confirmed what happened. But I learned something unpleasant." "What?" "Your signature does not remember your fear. It only remembers that you signed." Lola looked down at her hands. Mr. Niyi continued. "When Ronka told you to leave, you had a choice. You made it. Now another choice is waiting. Don't confuse going back to work with surrender. You can go back if the terms are clean. You can leave if they are not. But don't beg to erase what happened just because you're frightened." Lola gave a short laugh. "Easy for you to say. He did not defend himself." "Yes." That stopped her. He nodded toward the room. "You think I don't know what money fear feels like?" Lola felt ashamed. "I didn't mean euros." "You did. And you're not wrong that your risk is yours, not mine." He folded his hands. "After I retired, I thought I had arranged my life properly. Small pension, some savings. My wife and I were not rich, but we were fine. Then she became ill for a long time. Treatment took money. After she died, I put part of what remained into a cooperative investment with men I trusted. It failed. Some money came back. Much did not." He said it without drama. That made it heavier. "I have a daughter in another state," he continued. "She has her own family and responsibilities. She sends when she can. I don't like asking. Maybe that pride is foolish. Maybe not." He looked at the loaf of bread. "So when I tell you courage is expensive, I am not speaking from a motivational poster." Lola smiled weakly. "Sorry, no need." He picked up one orange. "But don't make poverty your reason to train yourself into dishonesty. That training lasts longer than the crisis." Lola sat with those words. Outside, somebody called to a child. A bucket scraped across concrete. Normal life, no music, no miracle. "What should I do with the report?" Lola asked. "Send it." "How?" "I don't have Marcus's email." "Does the restaurant have a public business contact?" "Yes." "Then send it there, addressed to him, and keep proof you sent it. Also, give a physical copy, if possible. What if Ronka deletes it? Then you tried a proper channel. Do not start breaking into systems because you watched one film." Lola laughed. "I wasn't planning to." "Good." He peeled the orange. "And write only what you know." "I know. No adjectives." "Yes, sir. No wicked manager. I wasn't going to write that. No obvious corruption." "Professor. Instructor." She laughed properly then. Before she left, Mr. Niyi pulled an old exercise book from his shelf. Inside were pages of handwritten tables. Purchasing quantity, yield, portion cost, wastes percentage, stock count. "Take this." Lola looked through it. "Your notes?" "From a class I taught. Very basic. I can't take it. You brought me bread I did not ask for. Let us both suffer." She held the book to her chest. "Thank you. Bring it back. Ah, did you think it was inheritance? This man, he grinned. Lola left his room with no money she had not brought in, no job offer, no powerful connection, just an old exercise book. And yet, on the bus home, she read every page. That weekend became the strangest classroom she had ever attended. She learned why portion control was not stinginess, why waste had to be separated from theft, why receiving stock was different from approving an invoice, why the person who counted delivery should not blindly confirm a quantity somebody else typed, why a restaurant could be busy every day and still lose money. Mr. Niyi had written little notes in the margins. Count what arrives, not what was promised. Waste is information. If staff hide mistakes because punishment is worse than honesty, management will eventually lose the truth. Lola underlined that one. On Sunday evening, her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Lola from Junction House? Yes. A woman's voice. My name is Mrs. Oladipo. You served our teachers group last month. We asked your restaurant about 35 lunch packs for Saturday training, but your manager said the order was too small for delivery. Lola remembered them, a group of after-school tutors who met twice a month in a rented classroom nearby. Yes, Ma, I remember. One of our facilitators saw what happened at the restaurant the other day. She gave me your number from the receipt you wrote when we had a wrong item. I hope that's okay. Lola stiffened slightly. Yes, Ma. Are you still working there? The question embarrassed her. I'm currently suspended. Mrs. Oladipo paused. I'm sorry. I won't ask what happened. I only wanted to know if you do food privately. You once told us you hoped to learn catering properly. We still need those lunch packs. Nothing fancy. Rice, chicken, water. 38 people now. Lola's first instinct was to say yes. Her second was to panic. She had cooked for family events. She had helped in church kitchens. 38 paid lunch packs were different. When do you need them? Saturday. By 12:30. 6 days. Can I call you tomorrow morning with a price? Please do. Lola ended the call. Then she stared at Mr. Niyi's exercise book. A small job, not rescue, a test. And this time, nobody else would carry the tray for her. Lola did not sleep much that night. By 6 the next morning, she had filled 3 pages with questions. How much rice for 38 people? How much chicken after trimming and cooking loss? How many portions could one pot actually hold? Transport, packaging, fuel, water. A little extra in case 2 people appeared unexpectedly, because people had a way of appearing when food was ready. She called Mr. Niyi at 7:30. He answered with a voice thick from sleep. Somebody should be dead. Good morning, sir. Lola, I have catering work. Silence. Then, at this hour, 38 lunch packs. Saturday. And you have already said yes? I said I would call with a price. Ah, there is hope for you. Please help me. Come by 10. Bring pencil. Not pen. Why pencil? Because your first calculation will be wrong. It was, so was her second. At Mr. Niyi's room, they sat side by side with his old exercise book open between them. He refused to give her quantities immediately. How much does one person receive? 1 plate. He stared at her. Wonderful. The catering industry is saved. Lola groaned. Sir, 1 plate can carry 10 spoons or 20. Define your portion. He made her think in ladles, cooked yield, and serving size. Then he asked what she would do if the chicken pieces from the market were smaller than expected. What if gas finished halfway? What if the person supplying packs failed? What if delivery traffic was worse than planned? Why are you trying to frighten me? Because excitement is free. Failure is expensive. He showed her how to build a small contingency into the quote. Not enough to cheat the client. Enough to avoid using her own transport money if one thing went wrong. Then he asked, "She didn't mention. You mention. What if she says no? Then decide whether you can finance a customer's lunch from your pocket." Lola could not. That answer was easy. By noon, she had a simple written quote: food, packaging, delivery, payment terms. She sent it to Mrs. Oladipo, then waited. 10 minutes, 20, 1 hour. Lola convinced herself the price was too high. Then the reply came. "Looks clear. We can pay 60% deposit today and balance on delivery." Lola read it twice. She called Mr. Niyi. She accepted. Good. That's all? What do you want? Trumpet? At least small excitement. Deliver first. Celebrate later. She laughed. That afternoon, Lola arranged to use the kitchen of a small weekday canteen whose owner she knew through a church women's group. The canteen did not operate on Saturdays. Lola paid a modest fee for the space and cooking gas, agreed to clean everything afterward, and wrote the arrangement down. Mr. Niyi approved of that last part. "You see, paper is becoming your friend. I have other friends. Paper doesn't borrow money." On Monday, before she could think further about the catering job, Lola returned to Junction House. Ronke was waiting. On the desk lay a printed statement. "Read and sign." Lola sat. The statement said she had abandoned her duty station after refusing a manager's instruction and acknowledged prior unauthorized distribution of restaurant food. She read it again. "This isn't correct." Ronka did not look up from her laptop. "Which part?" "I didn't abandon my duty station. You told me to get out. After you refused instruction. The instruction was to serve food after a customer complained it smelled bad." Ronke's fingers stopped moving. "That is your interpretation?" "No. That is what happened." Ronke looked at her. "And the unauthorized food? The meals were paid for or were my staff meal before you changed the rule?" "Staff meal is not transferable." "That wasn't stated before. It was understood." "By who?" Ronke shut the laptop. "You see your problem?" Lola looked at the statement. "I won't sign this." "Then your suspension continues pending review. By Mr. Marcus? By management. Can I take a copy?" Ronke's eyes flashed. "No. Then I'll write down what it says. Leave my office." Lola stood. "Has Mr. Marcus received my report?" "Leave." That answered enough. Outside the restaurant, Lola used her phone to an incident report to the public business email listed on Junction House's own social page. The subject line was plain. "For attention of Mr. Marcus George, incident report and suspension." She attached photographs of her own receipts. Nothing else. No accusations about theft. No pictures of internal sheets. No gossip about Musa. Then she sent herself a copy. After that, she went to buy rice for Saturday. The shift from employee trouble to catering preparation did something good to her mind. For 3 days, fear had been the only thing in the room. Now there were tasks: rice to inspect, chicken to price, packaging to confirm, a delivery route to plan. Her roommate agreed to help with washing and packing for a small fee. Lola insisted on paying her something. "You never get profit and you don't employ staff," her roommate teased. "If I don't pay you, you will eat half the chicken, correct?" Mr. Niyi came to the canteen kitchen on Saturday morning, but refused to touch the cooking spoon at first. "This is your job. You can supervise. Supervise what? You have two eyes. Old people like controlling things. Control. He clicked his tongue. Still, he checked the rice after she measured it. He watched her portion, the chicken. And when she became nervous and wanted to add too much food to the first 10 packs, he stopped her. If the first person receives celebration quantity, what will number 38 receive? Aroma. Lola laughed and corrected the portions. The morning was not smooth. One bag of takeaway packs arrived with several cracked lids. Lola had to send her roommate to buy replacements. The first pot of rice absorbed water differently from the second, forcing her to adjust heat and timing. At 11:15, the delivery driver she had arranged called to say his vehicle had a problem. For 1 minute, panic entered the kitchen. Then Lola looked at her contingency page. Transport backup. She called a second driver, whose number she had saved 2 days earlier. He cost more. She had budgeted for that possibility. Mr. Niyi watched her make the call. When she finished, he nodded once. Now you may celebrate small. We have not delivered. Exactly. Small. They laughed. At 12:22, 38 lunch packs arrived at the training center. 8 minutes before the agreed time. Mrs. Oladipo checked the order. You added 2 extra. In case your head count changes. If you don't need them, your facilitators can take them later. Mrs. Oladipo smiled. This is why I called you. You think ahead. That sentence stayed with Lola longer than the payment notification that followed. She had always thought ahead. At Junction House, thinking ahead meant remembering table numbers, spotting a child about to knock over a drink, asking the kitchen about an order before a customer became angry. Nobody called it a skill. They called it doing her job. Now somebody had paid for it directly. After expenses and the fee she paid her roommate, Lola's profit was not huge. It was real. More important, she knew exactly where it came from. No miracle, no mysterious envelope. 38 meals, a quote, a deposit, planning, work. On Sunday evening, she brought Mr. Niyi his exercise book. He refused it. Keep it 1 more week. You said bring it back. I changed my mind. That is not good documentation. He stared at her, then laughed so loudly the woman in the next room called, Baba Niyi, wetin happen? He wiped his eyes. This girl will kill me. Lola told him the exact outcome of the catering job. Not just that it went well. What went wrong? What the backup driver cost? How many portions remained? Where she underestimated packaging. Mr. Niyi listened with the seriousness of somebody reviewing an exam. What will you change next time? Confirm packaging 24 hours earlier. Have transport backup before cooking starts. Portion by count, not by eye. Good. And charge slightly more. He nodded. Why? Because I forgot to pay myself for the planning time. He smiled. Very good. Lola leaned back. I still need my job. I know. The small success had not changed that. It had changed something else. For the first time, Lola could imagine that Junction House was not the entire map of her future. It was one place on it. That mattered when Marcus called on Tuesday morning. Is this Lola Adeyemi? She sat up on her bed. Yes, sir. Marcus George. Junction House. Good morning, sir. I saw your email last night. Can you come in tomorrow at 10? Her stomach tightened. Yes, sir. Bring whatever records you referred to. Your own records. Don't take anything from the restaurant. Yes, sir. Then he said something she did not expect. And Lola? Sir. Do not discuss the meeting with Ronke before you come. The call ended. Lola held the phone against her palm. The fear returned. But it was different now. It had shape. Wednesday at 10. A meeting. Facts. She could prepare for that. Marcus had received her email after checking the business inbox himself. He had started checking because food cost had climbed for 3 consecutive reporting periods while sales had not fallen enough to explain it. Ronke's weekly notes blamed waste, staff meals, and inconsistent portioning. It was plausible, too plausible. Busy restaurants lost money in boring ways all the time. A little over-portioning here, a cancelled order there. Oil used carelessly, spoilage, staff meals, complimentary plates. But Lola's report introduced a detail Ronke's reports did not. A customer complaint about food condition, and a direct claim that Ronke had told staff to serve it anyway. Marcus did not know whether Lola was telling the truth. That was exactly why he called her. He also reviewed the staff disciplinary note Ronke had prepared. It referred to ongoing unauthorized food distribution, but attached no transaction record. That bothered him. So did something else. 2 supplier invoices from the previous month carried quantities that did not match the kitchen usage Marcus expected from sales. Again, not proof, just untidiness. Marcus had built Junction House 8 years earlier from a small takeaway counter. He knew how easily an owner could become impressed by growth and stop looking at the thing that had made growth possible. He had done exactly that. When his second business began struggling, he had handed more control to Ronke because she was competent and available. At least, that was what he told himself. Now he was not sure whether he had delegated responsibility or abandoned it. At 10 the next morning, Lola entered Junction House wearing the plain blue skirt and white blouse again. No uniform, no apron. Customers had not arrived yet. Marcus was waiting in the office. Ronke was not there. He pointed to the chair. "Sit," Lola sat. "I want you to understand something," Marcus said. "I am not assuming you are right." "Okay, sir. And I am not assuming Ronke is right. I want to know what happened. Start with the soup incident, only what you saw and heard." Lola almost smiled. "Only what you know." Mr. Niyi again. So she told him. The customer's complaint, the smell, Musa's reaction, Ronke's instruction, her refusal, her suspension. Marcus took notes. Did Ronke explicitly say serve spoiled food? No, sir. What did she say? She said to reheat it properly, add fresh pepper, and serve it. Did you hear those exact words? Yes. Did Musa? Yes. Anybody else? A kitchen assistant was there. I don't know how much she heard. Marcus nodded. Now the food you gave Mr. Niyi. Lola opened the envelope. She placed the receipts on the desk. One by one. Some days had none because she had shared her own staff meal under the earlier practice. The rest were ordinary till receipts. Marcus counted them. Why did you keep these? Ronke warned me to account for anything leaving the kitchen. And before that, Mr. Niyi told me to keep records if there could be a misunderstanding. Marcus looked up. Who is he? A customer. Retired catering instructor. Any relation to you? No. Did he ask you to complain about Ronke? No, sir. Did he tell you she was stealing? No. He told me not to say what I couldn't prove. Marcus leaned back. That answer seemed to interest him. What else did you bring? Lola took out her notebook. She hesitated before handing it over. This is my personal notebook. It has work observations and some personal things. I marked the pages related to Junction House. Marcus accepted it. He read, slowly, Wednesday. 6 chicken cartons physically received. Delivery sheet showed 8. Ronke said balance later. No second delivery observed before close. Chicken unavailable before end of lunch next day. Another date. Oil delivery short by 1 container, according to kitchen conversation. Not personally counted. Marcus tapped that line. You wrote not personally counted. Because I didn't count it. Musa mentioned it. Good. He turned another page. Till shortage assigned to my cash tables. Order slips showed 1 table belonged to another server. No deduction after review. Rota changed after disagreement regarding paid meal for Mr. Niyi. Reason given. Operational need. Marcus closed the notebook. Why didn't you come to me sooner? Lola almost answered politely, then decided not to. I don't see you often, sir. The office became quiet. Marcus looked at her. Fair. 1 word. No defense. He folded his hands. Did you take copies of any receiving sheets? No. Photographs? No. Good. Lola's face tightened. He saw it. I don't mean good because I don't want evidence. I mean good because I don't want staff taking confidential records they are not authorized to take. I can access them. Okay. Did Musa ever tell you he signed short deliveries? Lola paused. This mattered. He told me sometimes invoice quantities and physical quantities didn't match. But you should ask him what he personally signed. Marcus looked at her for a moment. You are careful. I am trying to be. Were you always? Lola thought of all the times she had wanted to call Ronke a thief. No, sir. Marcus almost smiled. Then his face became serious again. For now, you remain suspended with pay while I review the incident. Lola blinked. With pay? Yes. From the date of suspension. She felt relief so fast it almost made her dizzy. Marcus raised 1 hand. This is not a conclusion. It is simply fair while I investigate. Thank you, sir. Do not contact staff asking them to support you. Do not post anything online. Do not confront Ronk. I won't. If you remember something factual, email it. Lola stood. At the door, Marcus called her back. 1 more question. Sir, why did you keep paying for that man's food after Ronke warned you? Lola thought about giving the noble answer. She did not. Some days I didn't. Some days he paid. Some days I paid because I could afford it. Why? She looked at the envelope of receipts. Because being hungry in public is already hard. I didn't see a reason to make it harder. Marcus said nothing. Lola left. The investigation began after she walked out. And this time, Ronke did not control the questions. Marcus started with the kitchen. Not with accusations, with counts. He asked Musa to meet him before opening the next day. Musa came in looking as if he had not slept. Sit down, Marcus said. Musa sat on the edge of the chair. I am reviewing stock receiving. I need you to answer what you personally know, not what people are saying. Musa nodded. Have you received quantities that did not match the delivery sheets? Musa's eyes moved toward the office door. Sir, Ronk is not in the building. That did not relax him. Have you? Musa looked at his hands. Yes, sir. How often? I cannot count exactly. Good. Don't guess. Give me examples you remember. Musa told him about the chicken, then oil, then drinks. He explained the same pattern Lola had described. Balance would come later. Sign now. Sometimes balance came. Sometimes it did not. Why did you sign? Marcus asked. Musa swallowed. Because Madame Ronka told me to. That is not enough. Musa looked up, hurt flashing across his face. Marcus continued before he could speak. I am not asking why the instruction existed. I am asking why you accepted responsibility for quantities you did not receive. Musa breathed out. Because I was afraid. Marcus waited. She controls shift. She controls report. Last year, one kitchen hand argued with her. 2 weeks later, the man's hours reduce until he left. Maybe there were other reasons, I don't know. But everybody saw it. Marcus wrote that down. Did you keep any personal receiving count? Musa nodded slowly. Recently. Why recently? A reluctant smile appeared. Lola disturbed me. Marcus looked up. How? She said if I sign, I should know what I sign. So I started writing quantity in my small prep notebook before paper leave kitchen. Do you still have it? Yes, sir. Bring it tomorrow. Do not alter anything. Yes, sir. Marcus interviewed the kitchen assistant separately. Then 2 cashiers. Then another server. The stories were not identical. That was useful. Real memories rarely arrived rehearsed. But several facts repeated. Ronke disliked staff questioning stock records. She sometimes blamed staff waste before checking where the shortage occurred. She changed shifts after disputes. She had told the kitchen to reheat the questionable soup. And she had been unusually focused on Lola's meals for Mr. Niyi long after those meals were being paid for. Marcus then went to the paperwork. For months, he had reviewed summaries. Now he pulled underlying receiving sheets. He compared them with sales. Then with Musa's new prep notes. Then with supplier statements. The first answer was not dramatic. Some shortages were ordinary. One delayed delivery had, in fact, been completed the following morning. One oil discrepancy turned out to be a counting error. 2 drink shortages had been corrected by supplier credit. Lola's suspicion had not made every irregularity corrupt. That mattered too. A good investigation had to be willing to clear what looked suspicious. But the chicken deliveries did not clear. Neither did several earlier frozen food deliveries. Junction House had paid for quantities that its kitchen usage could not reasonably account for. The receiving sheets said full delivery. Kitchen notes from 2 different staff members said otherwise. Marcus called the supplier's operations manager. I need route documents for these dates, he said. Not invoices, dispatch and delivery records. The supplier manager hesitated. Is there a dispute? There may be. Within 2 days, the supplier began its own review. Their dispatch sheets showed full quantities leaving the warehouse. That created a worse question. If 8 cartons left the supplier and 6 entered Junction House, where did 2 go? A driver was interviewed by his company. He remembered one of the dates because Ronke had argued with him about lateness. According to him, a sales representative had instructed him to drop part of the load at another location before reaching Junction House, saying the customer had approved a split delivery. Junction House had no record of approving any split. Marcus asked Ronke. She denied it. That driver is lying. Why? To protect himself. Did you authorize any stock to be diverted? No. Did you sign full receipt when less arrived? Ronke's chin lifted. Sometimes I signed pending balance because that supplier had been reliable, without marking a shortage. We were busy. For months? Not months. Marcus slid 3 sheets across the desk. Her signatures were on all of them. Ronke's eyes moved over the pages. You know what restaurant work is like. Sometimes paperwork catches up later. That is exactly what I am trying to understand. Which paperwork caught up? Ronke looked at him. Why are you treating me like a criminal because one waitress has been writing stories in a notebook? Marcus's face hardened. Lola's notebook is not deciding this. Your records are. Ronka pushed back from the desk. I have kept this place running while you were chasing that other business. The sentence struck cleanly. Marcus did not deny it. Yes, he said. You did, and I left too much with you. That is my mistake. It does not answer the question. Ronke looked away. There was no theft. I did not say theft. That made her look back quickly. Marcus noticed. He said nothing about it. The supplier's review continued. So did his. 4 days later, the supplier manager called. Their sales representative had been suspended. He had admitted arranging unauthorized partial diversions on several deliveries to resell stock elsewhere. He claimed Ronka knew, signed full receipts, and received cash from him on some occasions for allowing the arrangement to continue. The supplier could document the diversions from route records and messages on its employee's company phone. The alleged cash payments to Ronka were harder to establish independently. Marcus understood the difference. He did not need to pretend every allegation was proved. He already had enough to know his own manager had signed false receiving records repeatedly. He also had enough to know she had tried to make staff absorb the consequences. And he had the soup incident. That one mattered to him more than Ronke expected. Food cost could be recovered. Trust could sometimes be rebuilt. But a manager who told staff to put questionable food back in front of customers had moved the problem from accounting into safety. The next internal meeting was scheduled for Monday morning. Marcus asked Lola to attend. He asked Musa too. Ronke arrived first. She wore an emerald green blouse beneath a ruby red jacket, so bright it seemed almost defiant. Her hair was neat, her makeup precise. She looked like somebody prepared to win a meeting. Lola arrived in her plain white blouse. No uniform yet. Mr. Niyi was not there. He had no reason to be. This was not his battle to perform. Marcus wore the same cobalt blue shirt he often chose for work meetings. He closed the office door and placed a folder on the table. This is an internal employment and operations review, he said. Nobody here needs to shout. We will deal with facts. Ronke folded her arms. Good. Then let us start with the fact that Lola repeatedly gave restaurant food to an outsider and challenged management when corrected. There it was again. The plate. The easiest story. Marcus looked at Lola. Answer that. Lola opened her envelope. She placed the first receipt on the table. Then another. Then another. These are the meals I paid for after I was told all food had to be separately accounted for. Before that, some meals came from my staff allocation under the practice at the time. Mr. Niyi also paid for himself on days he could. Ronke gave a short laugh. Receipts don't prove what happened every day. No, Lola said. They prove the meals on those receipts. Ronke opened her mouth. Lola continued. I can answer for those meals. Now I want us to answer for the stock. Musa looked down quickly, hiding something close to a smile. Marcus did not smile. He opened the folder. We will. He laid out copies of selected receiving records. On these dates, Junction House paid for full quantities. Ronke signed full receipt. Kitchen counts recorded lower quantities. Supplier dispatch records show full quantities left their warehouse. Their internal review found unauthorized diversion before delivery here. Ronke's face lost color beneath the makeup. Their employee is blaming me to save his job. Marcus nodded once. That may be part of his motive. So I am separating his claims from our own records. Did you sign these sheets? Yes. Did you physically receive all quantities listed at the time of signature? Silence. Ronk, not every time. Did you mark shortages? Not every time. Did you tell kitchen staff to sign anyway? Ronke looked at Musa. Musa's shoulders stiffened. Sometimes I told them balance was coming. Marcus leaned forward. Was balance coming? Sometimes. And when it did not? Ronka's voice sharpened. This is what I mean. You are taking normal operational mess and turning it into conspiracy. I am not using that word, but that is what everybody is thinking. Because Shah Euros, Ronke pointed at Lola, has made herself into some saint because she bought rice for an old man. Lola's face went still. Marcus spoke before she could. This is not about sainthood. Then why is she here? Because you initiated disciplinary action against her, partly on claims that do not hold up. Because she reported a food safety incident. Because her own records identified dates I needed to review. Ronka turned to Lola. Do you know how this place runs? Do you know what it takes to keep staff paid when costs rise? Do you know how many times I covered shortages before Marcus even knew there was a problem? Lola answered quietly. No, I don't know everything you did. Ronka laughed bitterly. Exactly. But I know you told Musa to sign 8 when 6 arrived. Because balance was coming. It didn't. How would I know the supplier would fail? Then why did you blame the kitchen for using too much chicken the next day? The question sat there. Ronke looked at Marcus. Then Musa. Then back to Lola. You have been waiting to do this. No, liar. You kept notes. You kept receipts. You watched me. Lola shook her head. I kept notes because you kept saying things were my fault. Ronke's mouth tightened. You think paper makes you better than me? No. Lola's voice remained low. It only means we don't have to argue about what I paid for. Marcus turned to the soup incident. Musa confirmed what he had told Marcus privately. Ronke disputed the description. I said reheat it because Musa is too quick to waste food. I never said serve spoiled food. The customer had complained about smell, Marcus said. Customers complain about everything. Musa shifted in his chair. Madam, that soup was bad. Ronke snapped toward him. Now you have voice? Musa flinched. Then something changed in his face. He sat straighter. Yes, one word. Ronke stared at him. Musa swallowed. I should have had voice before. I signed things I should not sign because I was afraid. That one is my own mistake. But the soup was bad. You told us to boil 'em again. Marcus nodded slowly. Thank you. Musa's hands were still trembling. Courage had not made him fearless. It had only made fear insufficient. Ronka looked around the room. Her control was gone. Not because everybody hated her. Because the old arrangement depended on each person believing they stood alone. She sat back. For the first time, the ruby-red jacket seemed too bright for the room. I made decisions to keep this place moving, she said. Maybe some were wrong. Marcus waited. The supplier man offered arrangements, discounts, cash adjustments. He said everybody did it. Marcus's face hardened. Did you receive money personally? Ronke's eyes flicked toward the folder. Sometimes he gave me something. Musa inhaled sharply. Ronke rushed on. Not like what you're thinking. Small amounts. I had debts. I was trying to recover from a private catering job that failed. I told myself I would stop after I cleared them. Lola felt no triumph. only a tired sadness, because the explanation was painfully ordinary. Not greed for mansions, not some grand criminal empire. Debt, fear, a shortcut. Then another shortcut to protect the first. Then somebody else had to carry the blame. Marcus spoke carefully. You understand that personal financial pressure does not authorize you to accept money connected to supplier shortages. Ronka looked down. I know. And when those shortages affected food cost, you reported staff waste. She said nothing. When Lola's paid meals gave you a convenient explanation, you used them. Still nothing. When she kept receipts, you pressured her to stop. Ronki's face tightened again. I was trying to stop disorder. Lola finally spoke. No, everyone looked at her. You were trying to stop questions. Ronki stared at her. Lola did not raise her voice. There is a difference. That was the moment the argument ended. Not the meeting, the argument. Because Ronke had no document left that could turn Lola back into the easiest answer. Marcus suspended Ronke immediately, pending completion of the employment process and financial review. He did not call police into the restaurant for theater. He did not announce her disgrace to customers. He did not make staff gather outside the office to watch. The harm had happened inside a business system, so accountability began there. The supplier was told to stop deliveries, while Marcus arranged an alternative source. The supplier company later ended the sales representative's employment after its own review and entered discussions with Junction House over disputed deliveries and credits. Marcus consulted his accountant and legal advisor about the financial losses and what further action was appropriate. Those things took time. Real consequences usually did. Lola did not need an instant arrest to know the balance of power had changed. She needed something simpler. Her name cleared. Her unpaid suspension converted to paid leave. The disciplinary statement removed. The deduction issue reviewed. And Ronke could no longer write a story about her without somebody checking the paper beneath it. When Lola stepped out of the office, she found herself breathing as if she had run a long distance. Musa came out behind her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then he said, You see your notebook, Wahala? Lola laughed, a real laugh. You too started writing. Nah, you spoil me. Good. He looked back toward the office. I was scared, I know. No, you don't. Lola raised an eyebrow. Musa smiled weakly. Okay, maybe small. She touched his arm. You spoke when it mattered. He shook his head. Late. Late is not the same as never. That afternoon, Lola went to Mr. Niyi's room. She did not call first. He opened the door and frowned at her. Again? I came to return your inheritance. She held up the exercise book. He looked at her face. What happened? Lola tried to keep a straight expression. Failed. They found the stock problem. Mr. Niyi moved aside. Come in, she told him everything. Not with heroic language. The root records, Musa speaking. Ronki admitting she had taken money from the supplier representative. The suspension, the review, Mr. Niyi listened. When Lola finished, he nodded. Good. She stared at him. This man. Is that the only word you know? Would you prefer I dance? Small dance. He stood. For 2 ridiculous seconds, Mr. Niyi moved his shoulders and shuffled one foot. Lola screamed with laughter. Stop. You will injure yourself. He sat down, breathless and offended. You asked. I didn't know it would be like that. No respect. When they had stopped laughing, he became quiet. Lola. Yes? Don't make Ronki into a monster in your memory. Lola frowned. After what she did, I didn't say excuse her. He picked at a loose thread on his trousers. If you remember her only as wicked, you will miss the more useful warning. Which warning? She did not wake up one morning and become the woman who signed false deliveries and blamed staff. She accepted one wrong thing because she had a reason. Then she needed a second wrong thing to protect the first. After some time, protecting herself became more important than telling the truth. Lola looked at the old exercise book. So what should I remember? Mr. Niyi shrugged. That ordinary people can build terrible habits, one reasonable excuse at a time. He let the sentence sit. Then he added, including you, including me. That was why Lola trusted him. He never taught from a mountain. He sat on the same ground. The next 2 weeks were awkward at Junction House. Ronka's absence changed the atmosphere of the place, but it did not magically fix everything. Someone still had to prepare the rota. Someone had to check deliveries. Someone had to answer supplier calls. Someone had to explain to customers why 2 menu items disappeared for 3 days while Marcus replaced the frozen food supplier. For the first time in years, Marcus spent full days inside the restaurant. He did not enjoy what he found. There was no single broken system. There were many small loose ones. One cashier used a notebook nobody else understood. Kitchen waste was sometimes measured, sometimes guessed. Staff meals had no consistent rule. Deliveries were accepted differently, depending on who was standing at the back door. A manager could change a shift without recording why. An owner could receive a clean weekly summary and believe cleanliness on paper meant cleanliness in reality. Marcus had built a business that depended too much on one person's memory and authority. Ronka had abused that space. But Marcus had created the space. He told the staff that himself, not in a dramatic apology. At a morning meeting, I failed to put enough checks in place, he said. That is my responsibility. We are changing that. Musa looked surprised. So did Lola. Owners did not always say that part aloud. The new receiving process was simple. 2 people counted important deliveries where possible. Actual quantity received was written before anybody signed. Shortages were marked immediately. If a supplier promised balance later, the balance remained outstanding on the record until it physically arrived. Kitchen staff kept a basic daily waste note. No one could discipline an employee for a cash or stock loss without attaching the transaction or incident being referred to. And if a manager changed a worker's shift after a dispute, somebody else had to be able to review the reason. None of it sounded exciting. That was the point. Good systems were often boring on purpose. Lola returned to work the following Monday. When she tied the light aqua apron around her coral orange uniform again, she stood in front of the staff mirror for a second longer than usual. Same name tag, same shoes, same job title, but not the same Lola. The first customer who recognized her smiled. Ah, you are back. Yes, ma. Good, I thought you had left us. Lola smiled. Not yet. That answer turned out to be more accurate than she knew. Marcus began asking her small operational questions. At first, she found it suspicious. How many lunch portions do we normally lose when rice is held too long? I don't know exactly, sir. Estimate. I can check this week and tell you. That became her answer more often. I can check. Not I think. Not maybe. Check. She tracked customer returns for 5 days. Noticed that one stew portion was consistently too large when a particular ladle was used. Suggested changing the ladle instead of shouting at servers. The waist dropped, Musa complained. Since you come back, everywhere a measurement. You like missing chicken better? No. But before, life had freedom. Your freedom was expensive. He shook his head. Baba Niyi has damaged you. Mr. Niyi had returned to his table too. He still came near the end of lunch. Still wore his faded beige shirt often enough that Lola suspected he owned 3 almost identical ones. Still counted his money, still paid when he could. One afternoon, Marcus saw Lola carry him a plate. He walked over. Mr. Niyi looked up. "Good afternoon." "Good afternoon, sir," Marcus said. "You're Mr. Niyi." "Depends. Who is asking?" Lola covered a smile. "Marcus George. I own the restaurant." Mr. Niyi nodded. "Ah, the man who was not around." Lola nearly choked. Marcus blinked, then laughed. "Yes, that man. Sit." Marcus looked at Lola. "Am I allowed?" "If you buy something," Lola said. Mr. Niyi pointed at her. "Good girl. Business first." Marcus ordered a water and sat for 5 minutes. He thanked Mr. Niyi for what he had taught Lola. Mr. Niyi shook his head. "I gave her old notes. She did the work. She says you told her to keep records. That advice is older than me." Marcus smiled. Then he asked, "Would you ever be interested in doing a small staff training for us?" Paid. Basic stock discipline. Maybe 2 sessions. Lola looked at Mr. Niyi. For once, the old man seemed caught without a joke. Paid? Paid. Mr. Niyi leaned back. "How much?" Lola burst out laughing. Marcus laughed too. "Good question. We can discuss it." Mr. Niyi nodded solemnly. Then, maybe. That was the closest thing to a rescue he received. Not charity. Work he knew how to do. Work he could agree to or refuse. The 2 short training sessions went better than Marcus expected. Mr. Niyi did not lecture staff about honesty. He put 8 empty cartons on a table, then removed 2 while everyone was looking somewhere else. When they turned back, he asked Musa to sign a sheet saying 8 had arrived. Musa laughed. "Never again." "Why?" Mr. Niyi asked. "Because I can see 6. Exactly. Your eyes are part of the system. Use them." He showed the servers how overportioning could create shortages without anybody stealing. He showed the kitchen why waste notes were not accusations. He showed Marcus why exception reports mattered more than pretty summaries. Then he collected his fee, every naira. When Lola teased him, he said, "Professional dignity. Don't interfere." The small catering order also did not disappear. Mrs. Oladipo called again, this time for 52 lunch packs. Lola did not say yes immediately. She checked her work schedule, checked kitchen availability, checked whether her roommate could help. Then she quoted properly. Mr. Niyi reviewed the numbers, but refused to correct them until Lola explained her reasoning. The second job earned more. The third was for a small birthday gathering. Lola declined a 4th request because it clashed with a heavy work weekend. That refusal made her strangely proud. Months earlier, she would have grabbed every opportunity out of fear. Now, she understood capacity. A business could drown in orders just as easily as it could starve without them. 3 weeks after she returned, Marcus asked her into the office. This time there was no disciplinary paper on the desk. There was a typed offer. Lola looked at it but did not touch it yet. Marcus noticed, "You can read it. It won't bite. I have learned not to trust paper until I read it." Fair enough. The role was assistant operations lead on a 3-month development period. Higher salary, paid training in basic inventory, customer operations and staff scheduling. Still some floor work. More responsibility. More accountability too. Marcus explained why. I am not offering this because you exposed Ronke. Lola nodded. Good. He looked surprised. Good? I don't want a job because somebody else failed. Marcus leaned back. Then we agree. I am offering because you notice things, you document, customers trust you, and when you don't know something, you usually say so. That last one is rarer than it should be. Lola read the page again. Then she found the section on outside work. Sir, this says I need approval for other paid food work. Conflict of interest clause. My small catering jobs are outside my shifts. I know. I want it written that I can continue them as long as I don't use junction house, stock, staff, customer data, or work hours. Marcus stared at her. Lola's stomach fluttered. Maybe she had pushed too far. Then he smiled. You really kept that old man's notebook. I returned it. His spirit remained. She laughed. Marcus took the offer back. Fine. We'll add a written carve-out for your existing small catering work, subject to no conflict. Anything else? Lola looked at the schedule section. Training hours. Are they included in paid hours? Yes. Please write that too. Marcus pointed at her. You are becoming difficult. Documented difficulty. He laughed. The revised offer came the next day. Lola took it home. Read every page. Read it again. Then carried it to Mr. Niyi. He put on reading glasses and went through the document slowly. What do you think? She asked. What do you think? I asked first. It is your job. Lola sighed. The salary helps. The role teaches me what I wanted to learn. The hours are manageable. My catering work is protected as long as I keep it separate. Then, I think I should take it. Mr. Niyi removed his glasses. Good. She groaned. Again. What else is there? Say you're proud of me. He looked offended. Must everything be announced? Lola stared at him. He lasted 3 seconds. Then his face softened. I am proud of you. She smiled. Thank you. Now sign your own paper. She did. Not because the job would make her rich. It would not. Not because Marcus had become a hero. He had not. He was still the owner who had failed to notice too much for too long. But the offer changed the direction of Lola's life. She was no longer waiting for somebody to notice she had potential. She had evidence of it. Work she had done. Problems she had solved. Skills she could name. And terms she had learned to question before accepting. Ronke's story did not end with the meeting. A month later, Marcus called the staff together and told them the review was complete. He did not share private details that did not concern them. He told them what did. Ronke's employment had ended. The company had confirmed repeated receiving record violations, improper supplier arrangements, retaliatory management conduct, and the food handling incident. Past staff deductions connected to unresolved stock or cash shortages would be reviewed. Where documentation did not support a deduction, the money would be restored. Musa received a written warning for signing inaccurate receiving records. He was not fired. Marcus told him why. You were pressured, that matters. But your signature still matters too. Musa accepted it. Later he told Lola, Baba Niyi talk true. Signature no day remember fear. He will charge you consultancy fee if he hears you quoting him, make he come. They laughed. Ronke did not lose everything. She did not become homeless. She did not appear at the restaurant months later in rags, begging Lola for food. Life was not interested in such perfect circles. Lola heard through a former colleague that Ronke eventually found administrative work elsewhere after a difficult period. Whether she changed, Lola did not know, and she learned to be comfortable with not knowing. Accountability did not require lifelong surveillance. Some endings belonged outside her view. At Junction House, one new idea came from a conversation Lola had with Marcus after watching a delivery rider hover near the entrance one evening. The young man had delivered a package nearby. He stood outside long enough for Lola to recognize the look. Not browsing, calculating, the same look Mr. Niyi had worn at the menu board weeks before. Lola went outside. "You want food?" The rider straightened immediately. "No, I'm fine." There it was. "Water is enough." "I'm fine. I've eaten." Different words, same wall. Lola did not push. She went back inside and spoke to Marcus. What if customers could prepay one simple meal for somebody else? Marcus looked doubtful. Like charity meals? Not a charity queue. No public list of poor people. No photos. No questions about why somebody needs it. Just a prepaid basic meal. If one is available, staff can offer it quietly. How do we control abuse? Same way we control anything else. Record it. One meal voucher, one redemption. Simple. Marcus smiled. Of course you said record it. They tested the idea for a month. A small card sat near the cashier. One meal already paid. For ask at the counter. Customers who wanted to could add one basic meal to their bill. The cashier recorded it. When somebody needed one, staff redeemed one entry. No camera, no announcement. No person had to explain their entire hardship to qualify in front of strangers. Some weeks there were several prepaid meals. Some weeks none. It was not a solution to poverty. Nobody pretended it was. It was one decent thing a restaurant could do without turning dignity into advertising. Mr. Niyi hated the card at first. People will misuse it. Lola stared at him. You? Complaining about free food? I am protecting the system. Professor, rest. Instructor. He eventually approved after Marcus showed him the simple ledger. He said. At least you people are counting. Months passed. Lola's coral uniform became less frequent as her role changed. On operations days, she wore a light aqua blouse with dark trousers. But during busy weekends, she still tied the old apron and helped on the floor. She refused to become the kind of supervisor who forgot what 12 waiting tables felt like. Her catering side work grew slowly. Slowly was good. She bought 2 better cooking pots from Profit, then a cooler, then branded plain stickers for her packs. No loan she could not explain. No overnight kitchen empire. She still shared rent, still counted transport, still sent money to her brother when she could. Her life had changed without becoming unrecognizable. That was perhaps the most believable kind of change. One afternoon, close to the end of lunch, Mr. Niyi came in wearing his forest green cap. He had just finished one of his occasional paid training sessions for a nearby canteen. The money did not make him wealthy either. It made his month easier. He ordered beans and paid full price. When Lola tried to add fish, he raised one finger. Did I order fish? No. Then don't disturb my budget. Stubborn man. Professional customer. He carried his tray to table 9. A few minutes later, the delivery rider Lola had noticed weeks earlier appeared again. This time he came inside. He stood near the cashier, helmet under one arm. His eyes found the prepaid meal card, then moved away quickly. Lola was checking a stock entry behind the counter. She saw him. She closed the book, walked over. She did not ask for his story. did not ask if he had money, did not ask why a grown man needed help. She simply glanced at the prepaid ledger. 1 meal remained. Then she looked at him. Rice or beans? The rider blinked. Sorry? Rice or beans? 1 meal has already been paid for. He looked toward the card, then toward the customers. His shoulders were tense. Lola lowered her voice. You can take it, no problem. He swallowed. Beans. Plantain? A tiny smile appeared. If it's inside the meal. It is. Then yes. Lola entered the redemption. 1 meal out. Counted. Paid. No story invented around it. She carried the plate over herself. As she passed table 9, Mr. Niyi heard her say, Careful, the plate is hot. He looked up. His eyes moved from Lola to the young rider, then to the card by the cashier. For a second, Lola expected one of his comments. Maybe a joke about portion control. Maybe a warning about documentation. Maybe one more correction from professor to waitress. He said nothing. He only took another spoonful of beans and smiled into his plate. And that is the part of Lola's story that stays with me. Not the manager losing her position. Not the new job title. Not even the receipts that protected Lola when somebody tried to turn kindness into evidence against her. It is the fact that kindness did not rescue Lola by magic. It taught her to look closely at people. Mr. Niyi taught her to look just as closely at facts. Work taught her that compassion without boundaries can empty you, while rules without compassion can harden you. She needed both. The old man never arrived with a hidden fortune. He never handed her a check. He gave her an old exercise book and advice she was free to ignore. Lola did the rest. At table 9, Mr. Niyi finished his beans. At the next table, a young rider ate the meal somebody else had already paid for. Behind the counter, Lola opened the ledger, drew one clean line through the redeemed entry, and went back to work.